I know lots of people are struggling right now with money and stuff, so I thought I would share some ways that you can save money on your pooches without, um, without impacting their well-being. Um, so I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you should go check out your local feed or farm store. And some of you may have like local family owned ones. But if you're in the city or whatever, you're looking at something like Tractor Supply, Atwoods, Wilco, something like that. Um, so anyway, so you can buy vaccines at these places that you can then give yourself, not to yourself, give your dog, or your cat. They have both cat and dog vaccines. And so you can get the parvo distemper, and then sometimes they have those are usually around like $10, and then they have a little more expensive ones that also have Lyme disease and lepto, but it's all under $20 per vaccine. And that one you can do easily as long as you're not squeamish with needles. Not blood, you won't see any blood, but some people are just squeamish with needles. But if you can do needles, you can do the vaccine. And it's really easy. It's going to be 2 vials. One has a liquid in it, one has a powder kind of in it. And you use the syringe to pull the liquid out of one of them, squirt it into the other one, mix it all up, pull it back out, and then just shoot it in the butt, in the fat, wherever. You don't want to look for a vein. Like, you don't want to shoot it into the bloodstream. You want to shoot it into the fat, just like when you get a vaccine in your arm or whatever. Same thing, except usually the butt is the best, or like shoulder fat or whatever, just anywhere in the fat. It's really quick, just get it in there. And that's their annual vaccine that protects them from parvo and distemper and all those kind of things. And then there's also Bordetella, and that one's usually under $10. And that one is either intranasal or oral, so either in the nose or in the mouth. And it will say on the package, of course, which one it is. And so that one's also super easy. And it, of course, explains how to do that as well. It's super easy. And yeah, so that will save you on your annual, vaccine costs, because you don't have to go to the vet and like pay an office visit and all of that to just get the vaccines. However, you do need to get rabies from your vet. You can technically buy rabies vaccines at like feed stores and stuff, but it's not going to be recognized as a valid rabies vaccine. So if your dog like was to bite somebody or was exposed to rabies somehow or whatever, it wouldn't be recognized as valid proof of rabies. So you do want to get that from your vet and get a rabies certificate. However, they do have a 3-year rabies now. So so you can get the 3-year rabies and then just get your annual boosters for the other ones, and then you only have to do that every 3 years, right? So you basically don't have to go to the vet once a year to get the other boosters. You can just do the 3 years. Of course, if if your pet is aging or has like some chronic disease or anything like that, you'll still want to do kind of like an annual checkup. But if you have no concerns, if you have a healthy pet, then you might not need an annual vet visit. But again, that's obviously something that you have to figure out and determine. Like, you don't want to like not go to the vet if they need it because of their health status or whatever, right? But it might be cheaper, even if you do go to the vet once a year, it might be cheaper to buy the vaccines and just give them yourself than it would be to get them from your vet, because there's obviously going to be an upcharge on the vaccines. And the other thing is dewormers. So you can also buy all dewormers at these feed stores. You can even buy them on Amazon, actually. It's Pyrantel, Praziquantel, and Fenbendazole. Pyrantel is for all the worms, hookworms and whipworms and whatever, except for tapeworms. And tapeworms are specifically, you need Praziquantel or Quantel, Prazi, Prazyquantel, Quantel. That specifically cures tapeworm. And you'll know if your dog has tapeworm or your cat because you'll see like little rice looking pieces in their poop. And so if you see that, that's tapeworm. And so that's specific to that. And then there's also fenbendazole, which is sold under the name Panacur or Safeguard. And that one is also like a dewormer like Parentel. But on top of that, it's also used to treat Giardia. So obviously, if your dog is showing symptoms of Giardia or symptoms that might be Giardia, you definitely want to take your dog to the vet because it could be anything, right? You don't know that it's Giardia. So don't not take your dog to the vet for that, right? However, if your dog is symptom free and you just want to kind of flush their system and like preventatively kind of take care of that kind of thing, especially if you go to the water a lot or out in the woods or whatever where they can pick it up, where they can just like take one lick from the wrong puddle and they can just like easily pick up Giardia, then you can just do Panacur for 7 days in a row, and that will clear out any beginning traces or anything of Giardia. So again, 7 days of Panacur or Safeguard. But again, if they already show symptoms, then you can't just assume that it's Giardia, because Giardia has the same symptoms as many other things. So you can't do it if there are already symptoms. This is purely for like a preventative, like a flush the system kind of thing, right? Like a yeah, we go to the water a lot, so let's just do it. Let's just run a course of Panacur, just to flush the system and make sure that nothing's like lingering or starting up or whatever, right? But again, that's for healthy dogs. That's for dogs that don't have any kind of symptoms. It's all preventative care basically. And then the third reason you should go to your local feed and farm store is their food. And I understand some dogs have very specific like dietary restrictions, or they just really prefer one food over another or whatever. So this might not be for everybody. And also, if you can afford the more high quality food, then that's all, of course, also, best, although I find it hard to kind of sift through all the it's also always something is being recalled, and then there's a new study, and then it says they shouldn't be on no grain diets, and they should, I mean, it's just like you never know what information to trust anymore. But anyway, if your dog is not picky with food, and if your dog doesn't have like a special diet or anything like that, is not allergic to anything, then you can go to your local feed store, and they usually have their own store brand, or they have like a local brand that's usually a lot cheaper than anything you can find at regular stores. So for example, there's a local family-owned feed store here that has a 50-pound bag of a locally made dog food that is $20. And then Tractor Supply, they have their Retriever brand, which is right around, depending on which type of it you get, it's like about, like the top is about $30 for a 50-pound bag. But the cheapest option of the Retriever brands is it's $25.99. But for example, they have specials all the time where if you order it online and then pick up in the store, you get like a discount. Like they just had this the other day where the food was already like marked down 15% regardless of whether you buy it online or at the store. But if you ordered it online and then picked it up at the store, you got another 10% off. And that reduced the total cost of $25.99 to $19.07 for a 50-pound bag, which if you only have 1 or 2 dogs, or even 3 dogs or whatever, that's going to last a while. For me, it doesn't last long with all these dogs here, but for you, with a normal amount of dogs, um, that will last a long time. And $50 or $20 for 50 pounds, that's a lot of food right there. And then I'm sure Atwoods has, I don't go there because it's too far, but I'm sure they have some kind of brand like that too. And places like Wilco or whatever, so you just kind of got to look around. So like, because you pay so much money for even foods like Pedigree, which is crap food, is super expensive. Or even now, like, I forget what it's called, like the one really, even the super cheap, like cheap shitty brands basically, are really expensive at regular stores. So yeah. So anyway, so I think, like in my experience, you can just get much better deals at the feed stores. And feed stores aren't just for farmers. They aren't just for people that live out in the country, like me out here in the woods, like a friggin' witch in the woods in my wood house. No, it's like, they have them everywhere. I mean, they have Tractor Supply is, nationwide everywhere. They have feed stores everywhere. So it's not just, you don't have to own a tractor to go to Tractor Supply, basically. So if you're in the city, and even if it's a bit of a drive, it might be worth the drive to just like stock up on food and stock up on vaccines and all that one time, and then not have to buy all that stuff at regular stores. And again, the dewormers, you can buy all of them on Amazon as well. You can't, and there are actually places where you can buy vaccines online too. If you didn't want to drive to a store, like jefferspet.com, you can order vaccines there, and they have the option to buy like an entire tray of 25, which obviously is good for me, but not, obviously not something that most people need. But they also have individual vaccines, so you can even order it online. So anyway, yeah, so that's my take on it, and I hope this helps somebody save some money and keep their pooches healthy. And oh, and the dewormers and the vaccines, again, it's the same for cats. You can use the dewormers for cats too. You can buy vaccines for cats too. In terms of food, I haven't found necessarily like a big difference in cost going to a feed store. And cats are usually a lot pickier with food too. So I haven't found a big difference there. But anyway, the dewormers and vaccines you can buy for cats, at those stores and at Amazon and online as well. So anyway, all right. I hope this helps.